Denver Airport itself has decided that it's going to embrace these weirdo conspiracy theories. But instead of saying, like, coming soon, a Chick-fil-A, it says, shh, we promise we're not doing anything spooky.
Welcome to the Quicksand Club podcast, the podcast where we discuss every topic worth discussing, one at a time. I'm Spencer Bainbridge, and I'm joined by...
Dana Constance.
Claire Rice.
And make sure you weren't followed, and unplug the phone, because today we're talking about conspiracies.
You know, one of my favorite conspiracy theories that I don't want to be true, but I kind of do wish it is true, is the Stanley Kubrick moon landing conspiracy theory.
Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Stanley Kubrick using his cinematic genius to fake the moon landing. What do we know? What are the facts?
I mean, I kind of like the theory that there was just no way we could have possibly gone to the moon, but they were trying really, really hard.
They're trying, guys.
And they just realized they couldn't do it. So they hired a filmmaker who could just throw together some shots and make it look like they'd landed on the moon. And and everybody just believed it. I don't think it was Stanley Kubrick. I think it was just like a guy who was directing things that was in space. And they were just like, it was him. He did it.
All the top directors turned them down. It was Ed Wood. And that's why at one point Neil Armstrong scratches his head and says, boy, this sure is a funny old moon, huh?
I really want to believe the story, and I want to believe all those secret signals in the Shining movie that gets pointed out in that room. Was it 237 movie, which is amazing to watch. I want to believe that all those people have meaning in their life and that there's some truth to all those hidden secrets in the Shining film. But I don't want to believe that the government lied to us about going to the moon. But I do want that story to be true at the same time.
Room 237 is not a movie about what The Shining is actually about. Room 237 is a movie about how great movies make us insane. And how great art obsesses us to such a degree that we say the silliest things. But I love that movie too. I think it's incredibly entertaining. If you've seen The Shining, you have to watch Room 237.
It's just something that it boggles my mind anytime somebody like presents something. They're like, can you believe that the director got this soup can that said this in the shot when his life also had this happening? And part of me is like, yeah, because he designed the entire thing. like he had to say yes or no to the whole thing. He's not just some like journeyman director who was like hired for $1,000 set. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. Let's just bring in whatever we can from Costco. It's Stanley fucking Kubrick. He said yes to or no to every single thing that was happening on screen. Yeah, it's on purpose. I don't know if it's for the purpose you think, but it's on purpose.
All right, guys, tell me this. Where do you think I should place the camera for the opening shot? Should it be over on the right or over on the left? Claire, what do you think?
Oh, Stanley, I gotta go with you should go right down the middle.
Fuck you, you're wrong. Also, learn your lines, Shelley. Shelley, learn your goddamn lines.
What the hell are you doing, Shelley?
Shelley, you're killing me here. I'm freezing my ass off. I got cans of soup. Jesus Christ, I went to Costco for no fucking reason. You don't know your lines.
I like that in this version, it doesn't matter that he's a bad director. He's still going to yell at Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In thinking about this podcast and conspiracy theory, and I started thinking about my inner beliefs of such things. And the line gets blurred to me about the difference between what technically is a conspiracy theory versus what is an urban myth. And how would you define them each, and how are they different from each other?
An urban myth isn't necessarily a conspiracy, but most conspiracies are urban myths.
Okay.
Right? Or conspiracy theories.
What turns an urban myth into conspiracy theory? Is it because it forces people into action? Or
to me, a conspiracy theory is just a theory about, it just requires multiple people working in concert in secret. Whereas an urban myth can just be something like putting butter on your burn will cure it. That's not a conspiracy theory, but it is like an urban myth
Wait a second.
slash old wives' tale.
That's not true.
I don't think you should do that.
No,
Have you been doing that?
Fuck.
yeah, don't do
Sorry.
that.
Are you sitting on a pat of butter right now?
Margarine count?
well, that's a different kettle of fish. Doctors
can't
recommended
believe-
that years ago.
Yeah, I can't believe it's not butter.
Anyway,
on my
that's my definition. For it to be conspiracy theory, it has to involve multiple people working in concert in secret.
Okay. Gotcha.
I failed utterly to think of a good urban myth off the top of my head. What's a better one?
Mine was because, and Claire will soon understand this, is the whole thing about the kid from the Life cereal commercial dying from Pop Rocks and Coke, like consuming them at the same time, and
Now,
he died.
Exactly. Now that would be an urban myth. It would be a conspiracy if like Jack Ruby had killed him with some Pop Rocks and Coke, and the CIA covered it up.
Yeah, it would be a conspiracy if the CIA paid Jack Ruby to kill him with Pop Rocks and Coke and then covered it up.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Well, Mikey had gambling debts. I mean, what are you going to do? You're playing with fire.
The Masons. Well, the Masons was a big conspiracy theory. I mean, that
Right.
they were.
Were they dudes just hanging out, talking about naked ladies, or were they running the world?
Guys, it can be both.
Oh,
You can do both, I keep telling you.
I mean, Benjamin Franklin was really good at lots of things, so I
Yeah.
believe it.
I got invited to a Masonic meeting a couple years ago because they
Whoa.
were interested in possibly me joining, or maybe I was interested in them, or both. It was a trip, man. Their rituals and the way they do things, kind of creepy. Rooms have to be facing a certain direction. Certain objects that are special to them need to be pointed north, pointed east, west, and certain things need to be done in a very certain manner. And this is all 2023, but it felt like it was something out of 1285. It was really kind of wild. I almost felt like I was being recruited to a fraternity in the movie Animal House, and they put me in the corner with the guy who didn't speak English and the Nepo babies in the corner. So
And what did they write on your face while you were asleep?
I woke up with a big penis drawn on my head.
Oh, God,
And I knew I'd get naked. I didn't make the cut. No.
that's Bush League. That's Illuminati shit. I expect more from the Freemasons. You should check out the Odd Fellows. They're totally normal.
Are they even still around?
Shh,
The
we're
Odd
not
Fellows?
supposed to say.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
They all got
It's just
murdered by the Shriners
I think so. Run over by little cars.
in the Lodge Wars of the late 90s.
It's just everybody wants to be in on a secret, and they
Yeah.
also want to LARP a little bit.
You gotta
Everybody-
LARP.
Everybody wants to put on a cape, hold a big old staff, knock it on a door, and have everybody think that they're the most important people in the room before they go back home to their wives and children and bad jobs and empty bank accounts.
I mean,
And remember,
they-
there was a time before Harry Potter World at Universal where joining a cult was the only way to do that.
The only way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the Masons' problem. They don't do capes. They wear aprons.
Oh,
Maybe it's a
Yeah.
uniform problem.
rolling a
They've
lot of
got
dough over there?
Yeah. They have these funky aprons with symbols on it, and maybe they just need better. If they wore Knights Templar armor, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
I'd be down with that.
Do the aprons have a lot of handy pockets at least?
At least two.
All right, I'm
I don't know
considering
what they're-
joining.
I don't know what they're doing underneath with their hands in there.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's the real secret.
As growing up before the internet was really a big thing, you didn't catch a lot of the proliferation of conspiracy theories. But
Hmm.
again, the ones that infiltrated me were like the satanic panic of the 70s and 80s. I absolutely 100% believe that kids were being kidnapped and dragged away to be forced to play Dungeons and Dragons and get converted.
I saw that Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah, Mazes and Monsters. Absolutely. We were forced to watch that as homework.
As a cautionary tale, really?
as a cautionary tale, and we had to come and we had to talk about it the next day at school
And
about
you accidentally watched an episode of Bosom Buddies and were very confused
it.
and you got an F on that assignment. It's like, yeah,
Actually, the
I'm not
actually
going to dress like
the
a woman and move into that building.
we can
It's
talk
just
about like the popularity of the Da Vinci Code. I mean, that's kind of like a way to make conspiracy theories rather mainstream was the Da Vinci Code book and movie.
That's true. I never read the book. I saw the movie and thought it was awful. But
oh,
Yeah,
the book was not better. I would say like the movie was better than the book, and the movie was terrible. So
but people enjoyed the fact that they could follow along in a mystery, and it led to a conspiracy about, the origins of the Catholic Church and Jesus and all that fun stuff. So there's a want for people to believe that there's a unifying story out there that people can understand the things that happen in this world.
I did read that the main character is a professor of symbology at Harvard, and they started
yes.
getting inquiries about their symbology department, which does not exist. It would be like asking them about their mermaid research, you know?
Well, I almost feel like they've probably done more mermaid research than they have a symbology department.
So far we're talking about mermaids and the Da Vinci Code and Dungeons and Dragons, and the common thread is Tom
Tom
Hanks.
Hanks.
Tom
Oh,
Hanks.
That's
thanks.
right.
Oh no.
No wonder Trump doesn't want to give him that award because he's a conspiracy theorist.
He's at the center of everything.
Yes,
That's
he is.
why.
Have you ever heard of a conspiracy theory that turned out to be true?
So it was theorized for a long time that the government was seeding and helping along UFO conspiracy theory buffs and giving them false information so that they could hide their actual weapons programs and other things out of plain sight. That they were happy to let people go to Area 51 and just, it is Area 51, right? I just I feel
Yeah.
like it just
Yes.
made up a number suddenly. Just to go to Area 51 and stake that out and look out for things while really all the important stuff was happening somewhere else. And that sounds crazy, but it's true. They were absolutely doing that. There's this one UFO quote unquote expert who was haunting all of the important sites in New Mexico for where they were doing actual testing on weapons, and they had new Air Force equipment stuff coming out, and he was watching them with binoculars, and he was like writing a lot of stuff in magazines, going on the radio, onto those conspiracy theory radio late night radio shows, and then later on the internet. And he was putting out this stuff all the time, and he kept saying he had inside government sources, and nobody believed him. They thought he was a crank. And then it turned out 100% there was inside government people who were going out and giving him bad information.
Oh, okay, so
And
as long as people are speculating, we want them to speculate something so obviously wild and wrong that people will just roll their eyes and say, "Oh, that's a bunch of kooks. Nothing's happening out there in the desert."
exactly.
Right.
And it also, like, the crazier it sounded, the more
The
like
better.
the better. So, and they were happy to make him look as stupid as possible, because the thing is, he was watching all of, America's new secrets coming out and being tested, and he was seeing some legitimate things. So they wanted to cover that up as much as possible. So if any legitimate secrets got out, it was just buried under all of this UFO nonsense. And people thought that that was a conspiracy theory for a while, that he was being given bad info. And then it turned out to be true.
So the government's not hiding aliens. They're hiding the fact that they made us think there are aliens.
Yes. Yeah.
Or made one crazy guy think there were aliens, and then he told us about it.
Right. Well, and it is something now that they've leaned on every once in a while. You'll note that so now there's a lot of people who theorize that every time they bring out the UFO stuff for congressional hearings, something else is going on. But people are just so interested in like whatever information that the government is keeping about UFO sightings that they think that that people will just watch it. They'll watch these congressional hearings, they'll watch them on the internet, they'll write about it, and then they'll stop paying attention to the other things the government is doing.
Hmm.
When really, I mean, a UFO is just an unidentified flying object. So yeah, there's UFOs all the time. All of the time. There's unidentified things flying around. I think they're even called UAEs now. All the time.
United Arab Emirates.
Yeah. Yes, the United Arab Emirates is just a little country that actually flies around over the United States, and every once in a while we just catch it.
You can break any laws you want in international skies, my man.
I discovered a conspiracy theory in real time and verified it in real time. Back in my freshman year of college, I lived with my dad, who lived in a town north of Boston, and he and I would go to church, went to Catholic church in this city, Lawrence, because I was still kind of pretending to be Catholic at that point. And every Sunday we go to this Lithuanian church, and they would have the mass in their native tongue. So I thought that was kind of cool. But in the mass, it was always this, at the 10 a.m. mass, it was always the same deacon and the same priest who did the mass. And they would come out after the mass, they would go the stairs, and you could shake the hands of the priest and talk to them as you walked out. But there was always the same deacon, who is the fellow who assists in the mass. And for some reason, he was memorable to me. Fast forward 2 years later, I'm with a bunch of friends watching TV, and if you remember Geraldo, our friend,
of course,
Geraldo Rivera,
friend of the show.
Yes,
Love him.
Back when he was doing more of the tabloidy show thing, less so the hard news reporting. I guess he had a phase where he was kind of doing the shock value TV show specials.
Right.
And he did a show for a Halloween about Satanism in your community. And he brought out all these guests to talk about satanic cults in these communities, and witchcraft and this and that. And they had some women who came out to say that they were, they were witches, but they were good witches. They were Wiccan, and that they did positive things for the community. But to counteract that, all of a sudden this gentleman comes out and says that he's a warlock and that he's a higher level than these Wiccan. And he knows that once you get past a certain level, that Wiccans it's truly Satan that they're worshiping. And this guy who was a high level warlock was the deacon from this mass. And he went on to tell that he became a deacon at this church to hide his true identity. And I was standing up screaming like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, yelling at the TV like, I know that guy. That's the deacon. He's telling the truth. He's telling the truth. Satan is real.
Did that solidify or erode your Catholicism?
No, it was already on its path downward, but I still believe in Satan. But I don't think the church is going to save me from it. So
I see. Right.
But Satan is real. But it was a moment where I'm like, oh crap, that guy, he's not lying. So pretty wild stuff.
Why do you think certain people, believe in conspiracy theories so deeply?
I do think it's to make sense of the world around us. It's like, it's a confusing world. But I also think it goes back to what Dana was talking about before, that we want to be a part of a secret club that makes us feel important. And when we can follow along with the clues, like, reading a Dan Brown novel, we feel really smart, and we feel important, and we feel capable. And I think that all of that comes together, and it makes us believe in things. But I also think there's a lot to be afraid of in the world. And when we give into those fears a little bit and they have some sort of relevance, it's like, yes, I was correct to be afraid. This is a fear that, if lizard people were wearing the skin of humans and ruling us through familial lines, that'd be fucking scary.
Yeah.
And if I found out the truth of that, I would totally want to tell everybody. And I'd
build a website so fast.
Yeah, and I definitely a GeoCities site too. So.
And you make your life easier. You're not writing
start a
HTML.
comedic podcast and talk about it every week. It'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely get right back on X and immediately have like a profile with a picture of me with sunglasses on in the bed of my truck, just like
The fact that you call it X makes me think you're a lizard person.
I only did it to say that that's what it is for them.
I
It's
mean,
Twitter for me
I
forever.
mean,
That's true.
Elon Musk does have very much lizard-like qualities to his appearance. You have to admit to that.
He does. He's sitting on a rock right now.
He
Yeah,
hasn't blinked in 5 years.
Yeah. He
he
just licks his
cannot
eyeballs and takes another bit of mescaline.
he cannot generate his own body heat. We all know that.
And he can regrow his tail on demand.
You can't grab him. You can't grab him.
What about the well, again, I don't know, is it urban myth or conspiracy theory? What was it, the Brandon Lee when he got shot making the crow?
On set
Yeah, on set.
accident.
Yeah, accident. Is that qualify as a conspiracy theory?
Well,
Not
I
yet.
think it did
We need to
because
add an extra wrinkle. Like he
because
did
it
it. He did it because he was bad mouthing the first Bush administration or something.
or was it following the conspiracy of his father? Was there something that he because I think Bruce Lee died under somewhat mysterious possible circumstances.
Well, I think it's an urban legend if their deaths are connected to each other because there's a curse on the family.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah,
then
it's
it's
like
a
more of a curse.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
conspiracy theory if the studio execs decided that no Lee shall walk the earth any longer than the age of 35.
Right. You stop being profitable after 35.
I mean,
That's
we
why.
can just
That's why you don't hear about Brenda Lee anymore.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can. What about Marvin Lee? I was thinking Marvin Lee. He lived a while.
I actually don't know who Marvin Lee is.
You don't know Marvin Lee? Come on.
No, who's that?
He's an actor. He's been in a ton of movies. Action guy.
Did you get hit on the head by a coconut? Do you mean Lee Marvin?
Did I say Lee Marvin or Marvin Lee?
You know, my favorite singer is Gay Marvin. You ever heard of Gay Marvin?
I know Marvin the Martian.
I desperately now want Gay Marvin to be a nightclub act.
You didn't say it was a Lee. It had to be the first name or the last name.
Yeah, it was. There was an unspoken comma there. I'm sorry, that was my mistake.
Gotcha.
You're like a librarian. You always go last name first.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the way my brain works. After two ciders. Damn it. Which leads me on to the flat Earth conspiracy. That's a theory that's.
Oh, I'm
I'm surprised we have not gotten
long
to
to
it,
get
to get to
here.
it.
That wasn't even in my research. That's how much I overlooked that. Has anyone ever come across like a genuine flat earther?
On the internet.
Yeah.
Like Facebook friends who have espoused it, but who are real friends, but I've never talked to them about it in person. They live cross country.
No, I know a girl who doesn't believe in dinosaurs in real life.
Okay. I went to high school with a guy who spent a half an hour trying to tell me carbon dating was bullshit. And I was like, I don't know how to tell you you're an idiot without being rude. But was it one of those? It was like the fossil records are fake or that doesn't exist.
No, she just sort of thinks. No, hers is it's a legitimate conspiracy theory. It's like she does not believe it's nothing having to do with the age of the Earth or carbon dating. She
Or the
believes
Jews.
or the Jews or any of that.
Okay.
She believes like the Earth is really, really old and that carbon dating is real. She doesn't think that those are fake. But the way fossils are made, because like they're not because they're not the real bones, it's the imprint in the earth of where the bones were and sort of like the fill-in of like what's happening. That's what a fossil is. And then when you make the bones, you're putting plaster over the fossil and then, creating a mold. And then what we see in museums is, of course, like the statue of the fossil. It's not the bunch of fossils put together,
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, so how do I know that any of that's real? And like,
How do you know?
how do you know? And she's like, it just seems ridiculous that these creatures were that big and were on this planet. And like, there's nothing, and that she's just like, and at one point it just made a lot of people a lot of money. So they just kept it going. And that's why they keep finding new dinosaurs because it makes people money. And the funny thing is like, when they were first pulling up these dinosaur bones and or fossils, they didn't know anything about a dinosaur anatomy. They barely knew anything about human anatomy, so they just put them together and were like, if it didn't fit, they'd shave some of it off and just like force them together. So there's a lot of old fossil sculpture things that we have in museums that are faked
Hmm.
because that's not the way any of them are put together. But not all of them.
Yeah. So they're still putting leeches on sick people. How are they supposed to know how a patasaurus gets put together?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So, I mean, we're still putting leeches on sick people now because it actually is a good thing for some people for some things. But it's
Okay.
just,
Well.
I mean, it's good to know.
Hmm.
They keep leeches at hospitals, modern day hospitals for certain things. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so I mean, I was on board and I get why she doesn't believe it. I didn't have a good argument. Like, I don't know like everything I've said on this podcast is literally almost everything I know about dinosaurs. So I didn't have a good argument against what she believed. I was like, no, I think you're wrong. And she's like, well, it really doesn't matter. They're all dead now anyway, if they ever existed.
Has she never seen the documentary Jurassic Park?
Oh, she may have missed that one.
Yeah.
But I've never met a real flat earther in real life.
Wasn't there some conspiracy theorist who was so convinced the Earth was flat recently that he was building a rocket by himself that he would man it and go up in the sky and prove that the Earth was really flat.
Oh, how'd it go?
I think he died.
Okay.
I think he died.
Yeah. I
Oh
think
But it
he
was
would.
but credit for being a self-starter. God, who needs Elon Musk to build you a rocket? You can do it yourself.
There are so many things that I can like sympathize with and understand. I cannot believe that any of these people are serious unless they just spent their whole childhood breathing in, gas fumes and eating lead. Like, I think it's one of those conspiracy theories that's 90% troll, but I don't know. There's a lot of crazy people out there.
One theory I did, a European-based theory, which I'd never heard of, but is very dear to my heart now, is that according to some, Finland doesn't really exist.
Oh, yeah, I've heard this one.
Explain.
Oh, that there's a theory out there that while there is a country on the map that says Finland
Right.
in the Baltic up north there, it actually doesn't exist. It's just the big body of water that the Russians and the Japanese use for the best fishing in the world. And so they try to keep it a secret. And that the
So,
people who say they're from Finland are actually from other neighboring countries.
and they're all in on it.
And they're all in on it.
So if I were to book a flight to Finland, what would actually happen?
You would be taken to a different country, maybe Sweden. And can you tell the
Hmm.
difference?
And I would not know the difference. You're right.
No, no. And that all those great fish they're catching, they ship them in boxes of Nokia phones. And you never,
Finland does not exist.
Finland does not exist.
I love that.
And I hold that one very dear to my heart because it might be true. I may have been brainwashed about Finland.
An entire country not existing. That's a good one. I like that one. This is some Atlantis.
Yeah, it proves that
Goodness.
Americans aren't the only nut jobs when it comes to this type of stuff. It's great.
It's interesting that that theory is European because they're close enough that they could look into it a little bit more.
They
I
could
would I would
drive
think
up there.
Australians came up with that theory. Like, God knows what happens over there. We'll never be there. It's too far.
My friends, this is Lionel Kahn speaking. I host a new live podcast called Confidential. You may remember my radio show, The Conspiracy Files. Syndicated coast to coast, it ended in 2004 under mysterious circumstances. Now I'm back, broadcasting from a secret location inside my dad's house, somewhere in eastern Nevada. On Confidential, we talk about the things they don't want us to talk about. The alien spacecraft at Roswell, the secret journals of Sirhan Sirhan, the truth behind Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance and reappearance, They don't want us to talk about these things. They don't want me to say that Stanley Kubrick was secretly the head writer of Newhart for seasons 3 through 5. They don't want me to say that the Pentagon has proof of extraterrestrial contact, or discussed Dr. Bertram Adler's compelling theory that horny aliens are just intergalactic tops looking for bottoms. They don't want us to ask about the connection between Jim Henson and the Illuminati. Then why is Gonzo hidden on the backside of the $20 bill, along with one of his many chicken wives? They don't want us to ask for proof that worms exist. They can't prove worms exist. Asking questions keeps the powers that be afraid, and my friends, that's just how we want them. Confidential, with me, Lionel Kahn, live every Tuesday night from 3:05 a.m. until my dad's neighbor's dog starts barking. The truth is out there, my friends. I only hope we can find it before it finds us. In a scary way. Confidential on the Quicksand Club Podcast Network.
Have you guys ever heard of the phantom time conspiracy theory? Now,
No.
this theory essentially states that we are actually living in the 18th century, that it is 300 years earlier than we have been led to believe. This theory was hatched by this crazy German guy, I think in the 1990s. He believes that Emperor Otto III of the Holy Roman Empire, around the year 700, wanted to do two things. He wanted to make it look like his reign was more legitimate and that his line or whatever had been in charge longer than they had, that they'd had a longer dynasty than they actually had. Also, he thought the year 700 doesn't sound as cool as the year 1000. So he said, let's introduce a new calendar, because at some point they switched over from like the Julian calendar to something else. You know, the calendar has changed a few times in Western
Gregorian,
culture. Right. So they introduced a new calendar that said, oh, guess what? It's the year 1000 now. And for the last 300 years, our dynasty has been just killing it. We've been doing great. And that those 300 years of history, like from roughly, very roughly, 600 to 900 or 700 to 1000 AD, never happened, but they just made up all that history to make it look like it had happened. And that 300 years of recorded history actually did not happen. Now, my question to you is, what about all the other cultures in the world who can fully account for all those 300 years and all the trees that were growing, because we can count tree rings. So we know that those years happened. So that's why this theory especially amused me, because it's the most white Western Eurocentric thing. It's like other cultures, that doesn't count.
I love it. I feel like an intelligent person, but I'm going to tell you right now, as you were saying it, I'm like, yeah, I believe it. Like I could see myself totally being on board with this theory. Like, yeah, no, I'd fall for it very quickly.
Well, I know that there are some people who don't trust history going back a certain amount of time, because it's like, how do we know this isn't a novel that people thought was real? Like,
Well,
I trust historians more than that, but I know that there are people who believe that. It's like going a certain ways back. It's like, how do we know what's bullshit or not?
well, there are people who don't believe Helen Keller was real. Like, they either think she
Right.
was a con artist or she's an entirely made up person. Like,
I had a conversation about that exact subject with someone the other day.
oh my gosh.
They were
and-
very dubious about how one learns to do those things unless if they cannot see or hear.
Oh man. And that's
You got Helen Keller deniers?
Yes, they are out there. Yeah,
Man.
the phantom time theory. It also basically would suggest that Charlemagne was just a completely made up character, and that Muhammad never happened because he was born during that stretch of time. So again, there's ways of rebutting this, but this German guy swore that this was true, and part of his quote unquote evidence was that there's so few records. Basically, his theory is the Middle Ages never happened, but because there's so few records from the Middle Ages. But I don't know, wasn't it known for being a pretty pretty rough time? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, after the fall of the Roman Empire, there was it was an apocalypse. It was an
Yeah,
apocalyptic time period, but we know that because of all the records.
the records that there are. Yeah,
Yeah, and there are a great deal. I mean, there's actually a great deal of records. Like when we get the further up north we get, like up into England, where and all of those areas up there where there was just multi-level, like genocides happening. So the Romans were taking out all of the tribes, any way that they could, and then whatever other like intertribal warfare was happening was taking people out, and then all that was left over was the children of the Romans that they left behind and the tribes that had moved in. So, yeah, we don't have very good records of the people who were there before or what happened directly after necessarily. But we also do have, like we can name all the kings.
right.
like we know them all because, there was record keeping, and that's true in most of the other countries as well. Um so yeah, no, like you're saying, it's ridiculous to think like the Dark Ages were dark, but they weren't dark in the way that we think that it was everybody just became stupid suddenly. It was like just a rebirth period where they just had to recenter themselves after like the worst things.
It's interesting that the nuns that taught me in high school, they said that calling it the Dark Ages is completely wrong. It's actually that was peak civilization with the Dark Ages to them because religion and the Catholic Church ruled in that time. And in their eyes, the Renaissance was actually a downfall, and the Dark Ages were peak civilization. So, you know, from a certain point of view, they're
Yeah.
wrong.
They look at that era the way that like certain baby boomers look at the 60s.
Yeah,
Like, oh, that was
good times.
that's not coming back. Oh man. Is there anyone who the world believes to be dead who you believe to be alive?
Gavin MacLeod. Gavin Gavin MacLeod.
From the
He
Love Boat?
Yes, he lives in multiple universes, and every time you think he's dead, he shows up.
Oh, he's a Time Lord
He's
as
kind of a
well
Time Lord, yes. But
as an
people think he's dead,
award-winning
but
actor.
he shows up and he comes back. So people
That's a
think
good
he's
one.
dead, but he travels. Yeah.
All right. So, anyone ever see Elvis at a Burger King or?
I mean, there is a big part of me that I would have gone ahead and said, yeah, sure, Elvis faked his death like 20 years ago, and I probably would have could have gotten on board with it. But now that I'm older, I've learned so much more about Elvis, who loved the spotlight and loved having lots of sex with underage ladies. I don't think he could have kept it quiet this long.
He'd be doing karaoke right now, hoping
Yeah.
someone notices.
Yeah, I just don't think that. I just don't think he could. I just don't think he's dead. And also, I don't think he's alive. I also think he would have died by now anyway.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. Is like if anyone is dead, it's Elvis Presley. Like he would eat a sandwich made out of an entire jar of peanut butter and bacon.
Yeah,
You know.
what a delicious sandwich that is.
I
But
mean,
it's bad for you.
to a lesser extent, like Jim Morrison was in that whole mythology of is he really dead as well?
Yeah, and if he hadn't died the day he died, he would have died 3 days later because he put heroin on his cornflakes. Like he was not going to live a long time no matter what.
Yeah, he kind of thought about death a lot, but yeah, but there's still people out there who I think he thought that he just hated the spotlight, so he moved to Paris and completely disappeared. So you never know.
Yeah.
If somebody told me Prince had faked his death to get out of the spotlight, I'd believe it.
He was eccentric enough.
He was eccentric enough, like near the last couple of like he didn't sing in public a lot, like in the last years. And, the way the places he chose to play music and chose not to play music was eccentric. And maybe as a Jehovah's Witness, he really just wanted to spend the rest of his life witnessing instead of like being a musician, but I don't know. I mean, he died, but I could
But
believe the conspiracy theory
but
that
what
he didn't.
it's interesting. Like, what was the movie? Was it Searching for Sugar Man? Was that the documentary
Yeah.
Yeah.
where like a whole country thought like this rock star was dead? It turns out he was alive and just a janitor somewhere in America, and he came out of nowhere. So imagine maybe Elvis is actually a janitor in South Africa. That's where he disappeared to, and he's ready to come back.
Oh, that fat janitor's doing a great job, isn't he? Looks familiar though.
Yeah. He keeps wanting breaks with bananas and peanut butter.
I have 3 words for you. They're not in English, but I think you'll follow along. Avril está morta. Avril is dead, you guys. I read about this online. Avril Lavigne,
He's dead.
the popular singer, millennial icon, after the release of her first album, committed suicide and was
Oh.
replaced by a lookalike named Melissa, who has been living as Avril ever since. And I cannot find a hole in this theory. Perhaps we can do it tonight together.
Hmm.
Hmm. Does she live with the other Paul McCartney?
She lives with Fall McCartney, as he's known,
Yes.
Faul. No, I read about this and I was amazed at how, first of all, a lot of the time these theories will include the word clone when that can't be what they mean. Because clones are babies who need to grow. Like, that is
Yeah.
a plan that will take at least 20 years. So, what they really mean is a person who looks like them. But apparently, yes, there's a woman named Melissa who had plastic surgery, looked like Avril, and I guess there's clues all over the place. Like, in one shot, Avril, quote unquote, has the word Melissa written on her hand, is one theory of so-called evidence, and there's certain songs that allude to this. And my question with this sort of thing is always, why would they leave clues? Why would they do that? Why would they pull off a perfect scheme and then be like, but we're going to give people a sporting chance to figure this out? Why would there be clues? That's like the Paul is dead thing. There'd be no clues. They wouldn't do that. That's not how crime works. They wouldn't purposely leave,
But is it?
leave
I mean,
clues.
is it a crime or is it just a way to build the brand?
I think faking your death is a crime, even if it's just in the public
Wait a
view. I
sec,
think that's considered a
they didn't
fraud.
fake the death. She died, and they just
Oh,
replaced her. So that's
you're
not
right.
faking. Yeah.
You're absolutely right,
Yeah,
Dan.
I mean, I do think that yeah, it's a fraud.
They're
It's
faking her
a
life.
yeah, faking her life
Yeah.
is a fraud. And I mean, I guess like maybe it could be considered like false advertising.
Oh, then the FCC gets involved.
Ugh. I mean, but can they? She's Canadian. Or is she?
Oh, what a tangled web.
And who is she?
Oh, I should mention that the reason why the website was called Avril Esta Morta is because for some reason a Brazilian blogger is the one who came up with this theory, and they've got the best info, so I'm inclined to believe it.
I mean, I'll go with it because I have so little skin in that game. So
Yeah,
yeah, sounds fine to me.
that's
Even
a
the
hell of a.
millennials need a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, we
Everyone
need one
needs
that's
theirs.
our own.
Everyone needs theirs. I'm not sure what the Gen X musical uh, enigma is. It might be Kurt Cobain. Who killed Kurt Cobain?
Oh
Mm.
yeah, I think absolutely that there's what that Courtney Love is actually killed him, and that the um all of the record studio execs were like, we got to keep this covered up because Courtney's still selling albums, and it's actually better if Kurt died by suicide because his albums will now sell better. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not excited about that. That's not something I want to like sign my name onto, but that is a conspiracy theory I've heard.
David Geffen paid one of the guys from Whitesnake to kill Kurt Cobain because they all knew that he had ruined hair metal and had put them all out of work,
I
and
I
they were
I,
more than happy to do it.
So
And
it
they
was a
needed the money.
revenge.
I
It was a
don't think
revenge killing.
Yeah.
I want to get very particular, Gen X, about that. It wasn't Whitesnake. It was Warrant.
Oh,
It
I
was
stand corrected. Thank you.
because she's my cherry pie. If you listen to that backwards, it explains the whole theory.
Well, I killed Kurt. He's dead. Yeah.
For some reason, I left a trail of breadcrumbs for you to find.
That's right.
Always a mistake.
Like I said, growing up before much of the internet became big, I don't think I ever went down too deep on, deep into any conspiracy theories. But there is one that I actually do believe in, uh, and it's sports related, so
Okay.
it's a little vector there, but it concerns the NBA. Back in 1985, the best basketball player in college, his name was Patrick Ewing, and he was a big center for Georgetown. And whoever could get him out of college, it was going to change the fortune of their team. And at that time, and they still do, the NBA would have a draft lottery, and they made it a big TV events where they had a big uh, uh, drawing of envelopes for
Right.
teams to see who would go first, second, and third in the draft order. And it was, you could see these big cards with they opened up with the logos on them, and they announced it, and everyone watched it happen in real time. Uh, the team with the least chance to get Patrick Ewing ended up winning, and it was the New York Knicks, which, a big market team that wasn't good, and the league had interest in having New York be a big team. So when Patrick Ewing went to the Knicks, the conspiracy theory came out was that the league rigged the lottery, and that what they did was they took the envelope with the Knicks name in it and they froze it. So when the commissioner reached into the big uh, plastic bowl, he could feel the cold one, pull it out, and show it was the
Oh,
Knicks.
the
And people
old
still,
cold envelope.
yeah. And so to this day, people, the sports radio folks and such, they still talk about that. And I absolutely 100% believe that the league had interest in making New York a good team with the big market, and so it was rigged, man, totally rigged.
I haven't heard that one. Do you think
Yeah,
there's any chance? I know that you said that the league wanted New York to be, to have a good team because it's such a big profitable
yeah, the
market.
big, yeah,
Do you
big
think
star.
there's any chance that the owners and the commissioner might have exchanged a little rubbing my fingers together to indicate money? It's an audio podcast.
I feel quite sure that they were doing it no matter what. They were exchanging money, and it was for the best of the league and all that. But was it whether there was money being slid under the table? I'm not sure, but I think it was just a grand conspiracy of the Illuminati of ownership for the league to make New York a good team, and I think they've done it a few times since as well. But that was the first famous one.
All right, I don't know enough about the NBA. Did they succeed? I mean, I know Ewing had a successful career, but
He did have he went to the I mean he went to the Hall of Fame and had a good career. They did not win a championships, so you
oh,
can't guarantee that. But like LeBron James went to Cleveland, which was his hometown team, and he won a championship there. And they weren't the worst team in the league. And just the last draft had the best player go to Dallas, which is a team that traded away their best player by mistake, and this was a way to make it up to him. So I think the league is completely rigged.
in 1984 they covered the rigged envelope with Vaseline, but it was just too much of a mess, and the commissioner was like, "Guys, we got to think of something else. I'm wiping on my suit here. I look greasy."
They tried to fold the corner of the envelope there, but it was a little too obvious. So in the
Yeah,
first run through, so they came up with the frozen envelope concept.
they really should have consulted the CIA on this one.
It's that level. It's that level.
When you said NBA conspiracy, I thought
Hmm.
you were going to talk about the Michael Jordan conspiracy, the real reason he quit basketball and started playing baseball for a year
Oh,
for no
yeah.
reason and then came back to the NBA. You've heard this one, right?
Something to do with his gambling debts, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, that he was suspended from basketball for gambling, but they didn't want to tarnish one of their biggest stars. So to punish him, this is just one theory. So to
Sure.
punish him, they like quiet suspended him for a season or two or however long he was gone, and he pretended like it was voluntary to avoid the embarrassment of be a public suspension.
I'd believe things like that. Like, but also, it doesn't sound like a conspiracy that'd be too hard to keep because it's to everybody's benefit that they keep that.
Yeah, as long as
And
Michael Jordan's agent doesn't have a big mouth.
yeah.
Guess what I did? Hey guys, fire me? Well, I have some things to say. I just watched Jerry Maguire, in case you were wondering.
Uh, show
Who's
me the
coming with
money.
me? It's come up a few times, but I want to dig into JFK. What are our thoughts on JFK and what happened to JFK? Dana, let's start with you.
Uh, I believe in the single shooter, but I also believe he had people behind him. So
Behind him, Oswald had people behind him. How?
in the way I think he was probably uh, uh, brought in to do this, convinced to do it by either the mob or the CIA or both.
I see. So he was, if not a patsy, then at least a willing participant.
Yes,
I
yes,
see. A hired.
yep,
I
yep.
see.
Or at
Okay.
least, yeah, he was a useful idiot. Yeah, so I think he was
So
doing his duty for
not just a
country.
lone nut.
But I kind of believe that.
Okay. All right. If you had to lean toward either mafia, CIA, Cuba, whatever, like who do you think is most likely to have been the puppet masters?
I'm gonna go with the mafia.
Yeah, because they hated JFK because the
Yep,
Kennedys were going after the mob so much.
yep, yep. They screwed over Frank Sinatra, so
Well, you don't do that and live.
you don't do that at all.
All right, it's good. I like it. Claire, JFK thoughts.
I gotta say, I genuinely believe that Lee Harvey Oswald not only worked alone, but was a idiot loner who happened to have a gun up there with him because he's the type of guy that liked to bring guns to work with him, and just happened to be there at the right time and shot at the right time. And I think there's a world where he misses, and nobody knows where the shots come from because he gets lucky and gets
Mm.
out in time. I think like uh he's exactly the type of guy who would have stormed the Capitol and not really had a good reason why. Like that
Oh,
he
don't get
had
me wrong. There's lots of great reasons, but he
there's
wouldn't
lots
have
of
had them.
no, but I mean like full of that Lee Harvey Oswald at the time was as full of conspiracy theories um about the president and about the government and about other governments as the people who stormed our Capitol more recently did. You know, like that he just had a lot of falsehoods in his brain. And like I mean, and so he wasn't all together. He wasn't like he wasn't planning on it. He wasn't planning on shooting the president that day. It just like Jack Ruby when he woke up that morning wasn't planning on shooting Lee Harvey Oswald. And it was like, "Oh shit. I'm a man who always carries a gun with me because I'm a concert promoter, nightclub owner guy, and oh shit, I just happen to be in front of the building and it's going to happen right now." You know, it just but I would be more likely to believe that Marilyn Monroe was killed by the FBI because she got too close to
Mm.
the president and the president's men and was becoming herself a liability because she was a smart woman who was also addicted to drugs and alcohol. She couldn't keep herself together. She was depressed. She knew some state secrets and she was getting ready to not to tell for any reason to make money. She just had loose lips.
I think Jackie Kennedy saw the Happy Birthday song and dance number, leaned over to a Secret Service agent and said, "Take her out."
That's dark, man.
Yeah, you don't want to think about it. You're not going to sleep tonight.
I mean, we didn't
Claire,
even talk about Diana.
yeah, that's true. Just to follow up on JFK, Claire. I mean, you were saying like Oswald was maybe a bit of a lost soul and also had military background, which would make him a good target for someone to convince him to be the patsy to do the shots. I think I agree with your opinion of him, but I think he could have been radicalized or whatever term you want to use to do the shooting because he was kind of a lost soul with weird thoughts in his head. So I think there's somewhere in the middle there.
I agree.
Claire, I half agree with you on Lee Harvey Oswald. I do think he acted alone and that there was no one behind him. He was just a lone nut who had sharpshooter training and a gun and wanted to be important. He wanted to make it into the history books. However, I do think he planned to shoot the president that morning. I think he saw in the news because they printed the motorcade's route through the Dallas in the newspaper. And I think he saw it and was like, "Hey, I work in that building. Oh, I have a chance now to make the history books." So I think he woke up that morning with a plan. But I don't even think that anyone put him up to it. I think I've come to the very anticlimactic, disappointing, grown-up conclusion that Oswald acted alone, and it's so disappointing because it's so much
It
less
is.
fun than
I'm
the
disappointed
conspiracies I
in
read
you.
about when I was young.
I am disappointed in you, Spencer.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's
I'm
sad.
disappointed in me too.
What happened
it's
to your sense of wonder, your joy,
Your sense of wonder.
and a good conspiracy? I mean, next thing you'll say Santa Claus isn't real. God damn it.
oh, we'll save that for next time.
But I think it's too soon for Diana. It's always going to be too soon for Diana conspiracy theories for me.
Not if you have something to say, Claire. If you have something to say about Diana, I'm eager to hear it.
Look, the royal family killed her.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
really think so?
I mean, nah, she was in a dangerous situation. There was a lot happening. The driver was drunk. He wasn't supposed to be driving them. Like, they were rushing back and forth. It was a very confusing day and evening. They were unhappy with each other. Like, there was a whole lot going on. But also, fuck the royal family. Yeah, they absolutely killed her.
I don't think they were. I don't think they were behind it, but I don't think they were that upset.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that the Queen cried too much the next day.
Oh, I think she sighed with relief. And then was upset that everybody was so sad that she was dead. Was like, oh, damn it.
She was more upset that Whose Line Is It Anyway was a rerun that night.
Ah, God, she hates that.
I've seen this as time goes by.
Keeping up appearances. Oh, it's not on.
When will they make new episodes of Are You Being Served? That's the real tragedy.
Turn on Faulty Towers.
And that's our show. I'd like to thank Dana Constance and Claire Rice. This episode also featured Alex Marshall. If you have any comments or questions, we'd like to hear from you. Maybe a suggestion for an episode topic? Email us, quicksandclub@gmail.com. This has been Quicksand Club, uplifting comedy for a slowly sinking world. Anton LaVey International Airport in Denver. It's where you go for some good Chick-fil-A.